Hi there, it's Kathy with Be Creative with Kathy, and in today's video I'm going to show you what I did with my paper pumpkin kit for March. It's called the Memorable Meadows. It's a really pretty paper pumpkin, I think, but I'm kind of a junkie. I like them all. The paper pumpkin in March, because trying to say that a bunch of times I'm not going to be able to do it, has a coordinating bundle, I guess you'd call it, that's in the online store. You won't find it in the catalog. It's called the Garden Meadows bundle. Looks like this. It has these dies, if you can see them without the glare, and this stamp set. It also has some designer series paper that if you've seen the paper pumpkin kit, you'll recognize the paper because it has a lot of, the 3 card bases look a lot like this paper here. But look how pretty that paper is. The back side is just as vibrant and pretty too. In the bundle online, it also has, oh, and I barely have, look, I have just a few left. Looks like it's time to reorder. Some of the birds and dragonfly. And then I believe with this bundle is the centered striped ribbon. That is that pecan pie and very vanilla ribbon, which is really pretty. And here, this I haven't used, this I've overused. I need to get my proportions in order, I guess. But anyway, let me show you what's in the paper pumpkin and what the cards look like. And then I have a couple alternatives and stuff for you. So here's your instructions. I'm going to just dump, well, no, I'm not going to dump this out because there's a bunch of little pieces in the bottom here. In your first paper pumpkin kit, you get a paper pumpkin block, which is the size of a D block that's in our catalog. It's just a little thinner, but that way you have a block to use on all your paper pumpkins. You get all the little tags. Now I've punched all mine out. There's the glue dots, the dimensionals, the bling, the labels. And then you get these wood pieces that you can add to your cards. And of course your coordinating envelopes. Now the card bases this time look like this, and let's see, this is the one I've cut down. Where's the other card base? This one? Nope, we've already seen that one. Maybe I didn't get it out of the box. Oh well, there's another card base. There's 3 different ones, and I can't, oh, nope. All right, hang on, let me find the other card bases. That should be in the box, and they're, oh, they are, they're under the envelopes. Here they are, and they look like this. So this is how pretty, look how pretty these card bases are this time. Now, what I did for my cards is I took the card bases and I cut them down into card fronts, which is in my area, it's 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And then I layer them on some coordinating cardstock, and then my card looks like this. Now the stamp set that was in this kit was 2 stamp sets. They got a bonus stamp set in March because that's Paper Pumpkin's anniversary. And so look how pretty. Now some of my stamps here are mounted because I'm going to do a make and take for you, or a card sample or an alternative card, whatever you call it. I've turned it into a make and take. So if you are my Paper Pumpkin subscriber, watch the mail. I'm going to get them out in Wednesday's mail, and you'll get the card that I make today as a make and take, just as a thank you gift for being my Paper Pumpkin subscriber. The ink that you get in this kit is an ink spot. Let me see if I can find that. Is Garden Green. Okay, so that's, we're going to use these card bases that I have cut down. And then at the end of the video, stick around and I'll show you some more alternative cards that I've done. Some of them casing the swaps. If you watch my videos, you saw that I went to On Stage and I got all my swaps, and so I cased some of those swaps, and then I came up with some other ideas. So I just have a bunch of alternates at the end of the video. Okay, so like I said, I took these and I've cut them down, so that's going to be the card base or card layer on our card. Now, in January, we got in our paper pumpkin, and I don't think I have it here. Yes, I do. We got Glorious Grape. In February, we got Early Espresso, and now in March, we got Garden Green. So those are the 3 colors that I'm going to use on my cards today. However, I'm going to use the standard ink pads. They're just a little bit easier because they're bigger. So since I'm lazy and like to stamp fast, I'm going to use my bigger ink pads. I did use thick basic white. That's going to be my card base. And I've cut Let me try to get this out. There's stuff in the way. Let me move that. There we go, so I can set my stuff down. So I did cut from just basic white, some white arches. Now this is from that Garden Meadows die set, this big arch right here. I think it's beautiful. It does some stitching along the edge, I guess you'd call that, or some, yeah, stitching works the best I can say. Okay, that's going to be in your kit. And then I have just a little sliver here. In fact, it's a 1/2 inch by 3 1/4, and this is fresh freesia. That's just another color in your paper pumpkin kit. If you look on the back of your paper pumpkin, it has all the coordinating colors here, and there is a whole list of them here. Like peacock is one of the coordinating colors, and that's what I chose to do my card bases with here. There, okay? So let's go ahead with this one here. Now I need a piece of scratch paper, and I need my foam mat. I strongly suggest you get a foam mat with your paper pumpkin because you always get photopolymer or those clear stamps. And especially these are nice big images. They always stamp better if you have a foam mat under your stamps. Okay, so we're going to stamp on this piece. Nope, no, we're not going to stamp on that piece. We're going to stamp on the arc, and we're going to stamp on that little strip using the colors that we have from the last 3 months. We're going to start with Early Espresso. And now the really, really nice thing, I think, I like this kind of stamp set. It's a 2-step stamp. So I'll bring back my little stamps. Let me see what I did with them, so I can show you which image I'm using at what time. Because we're going to start with the extra stamp set, and we're going to start with this large image right here, which is like the outline. And now sometimes when you get an outline stamp like that, you have to color it. But in this case, they gave us a stamp for the inside of that image, and that's called 2-step stamping. And we're also going to do another technique called stamping off. So I've got that inked up good, and I can see through my stamp that it is inked up good. I'm going to bring in that arc, and I'm going to just set my stamp down here. Try to get it in the center and just set that down. Apply a little pressure because I keep my ink pads nice and inked. And if you have the new little ink spots, they come freshly inked. We do have re-inkers that you can re-ink your ink spots if they ever get dry. Okay, there we go. Look how pretty that is. And while I have that brown out there, from this stamp set that's part of the actual paper pumpkin kit, I'm going to stamp this You've Been On My Mind on this little purple strip here, or the fresh freesia, in that same color. Make sure it's not upside down, although I guess it wouldn't matter. I could just turn my piece of paper over. I might get my head in the camera, so excuse me, but I want to make sure it's straight on here and in the center. And there again, I'm going to just hold that, set that down, not applying a lot of pressure, but making sure I hold it firm, let that ink sink into the paper, and then we have that little piece there. Okay, we're done with the brown, or the Early Espresso. So let's bring in some of that Gorgeous Grape. This is a really pretty vibrant color. I want to tone it down a little bit, so I'm going to stamp off here, and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to bring in this image right here. This is going to fill in those flowers. I'm going to ink it up good in that purple, and then I'm going to stamp off here on my scratch paper, and then just hover until I see where it goes and it's lined up, and then set that down and let that ink sink in. Pretty, right? Nice. Okay, so then we have this other image. This image right here is going to do another layer on that stamp, so I'm going to ink that up again in my purple, make sure I don't have it upside down, and I'm going to not stamp off this time. I want it a little bit darker, I guess. There it is, nice and inked up. Now I'm going to check those circles, or the insides of my flowers. There again, I might get my head in the camera, making sure my stamps line up, and then set that down, let that ink sink in, and now look how pretty you have another layer on your flower. Okay, now we're done with the Gorgeous Grape. Let's bring in that Garden Green. And now we're going to use this image here to fill in those leaves. So bring in that Garden Green. Again, I'm going to stamp off here. And I'm going to line it up, hover around until it's right, maybe get my head in the camera, hold that ink firm so the ink sinks into the paper, and look how pretty that is. Then we have this weird image here. Now this is the third step of your leaf. I'm going to ink it up. I'm not going to stamp it off because I want a full inked image, or a darker color, I guess. And I'm going to stamp it right there and then give that just that third color. Look how pretty that is. Now, if you had a yellow, which I didn't go back, I only went back 3 months, you could also take these two little images here and stamp the insides of your flower. Now, since yellow wasn't one of the recent colors, I'm going to leave it as is and say good is good. But since we do have the inside of the card and we have an extra stamp here, I'm going to bring in one of those card bases. I'm going to make sure that my fold line, or the score of my in my card base, is up. Like you can feel the bump. I like to have that on the inside of my card. I'm going to take this image here, and with some of that gorgeous grape ink, and I'm going to just stamp a little flower right here. There we go. Now you could take your time and color in the images using even a blending brush and the gorgeous grape along with that the garden green, but I'm not going to take time to do that. I'm going to call it good. I'm going to take this though, and I am going to fold on that score line now. Use my bone folder, get a nice crisp fold here. We're all done with the stamps, so I'm going to put those away. It's time to assemble now. Kind of clean up a little bit, get stuff out of the way. I have all my pieces and parts here. Another thing that I'm not going to do on video, but along with your make and take, you'll have a plain white, basic white envelope that you could stamp that little flower on your envelope too. Now here, you could use those little glue dots that are in your paper pumpkin kit, but I'm going to use my tape runner. It just makes it a little bit faster. So with my tape runner here, I'm going to put some adhesive along the back of that designer series paper, or the card base that I've cut down, and layer that here. And then from some dimensionals. Now these are from a previous kit. You get so many dimensionals. You have enough to use again and again, or in different projects all the time. I guess you can't use one dimensional again and again, but trust me, you'll have extra dimensionals. I always do. And peel those backs off. And put that on the front of my card here. And I forgot to mention in the very beginning, but I'll make sure I put it in the description. This is totally cased from a friend of mine. Her name is Amy Taylor, and she's Just a Little Ink. You can find her here on Facebook or YouTube. She does videos, and she's an amazing stamper, and she shared this layout with me, and I had to case it. And then I thought, with the colors that we have, it's easy to turn into a make and take, and that's where I come up with my decision. But okay, so now on my little tag here, I'm going to just take and trim off the corners, making them the same so they go the same way, like that. Just trim a little bit off the corners. It gives it a little bit of character that way. We'll put some dimensionals on the back of that, and these dimensionals fit just perfect on that 1/2 inch piece of cardstock. Ooh, and I almost forgot. I'm not going to put my dimensionals on there. What was I thinking? I got ahead of myself. I'm going to put my dimensional right here on my card base. That way I know where I want it. And then I'm going to put some adhesive. Those glue dots would really come in handy here. And put that there. And then set this down here on my card base. And look how pretty that is. Now, in your card kit, you'll also, I'm going to cut up some of this little birds, and I'll send you, in fact, not the birds, I'm going to send you the dragonflies. So 3 of these little dragonflies, so you can finish your card with just a little bit of bling on there. So I'm going to just use my take a pick tool, slide and pull it up, and put 3 of those little dragonflies on my card here, and that's what you'll have in your kit to put on your card too. So there you go. Look how cute that is. And that, my friends, would be your make and take. So if you're a Paper Pumpkin subscriber of mine, watch the mail, and you can make a card just like I did. So as I promised, let me show you some of my alternatives from what I've come up with. So the first one I came up with, I just wanted to play a little bit with that extra stamp set. And so I just made a quick little card like this. Now this hello also comes from that Garden Meadow stamp set right here. Like that little hello with that 2-step, or really it's 3-step stamping. And then you can see I just dry embossed the back here with the floral embossing folder. So there's that one. Oh, I didn't do anything on the inside of that one. And then if you watch my videos, you've seen me share all of my swaps from Onstage, and I got a swap that looked like this. And I took that paper pumpkin, because this is the designer series paper from the online kit or bundle. I took that paper from the paper pumpkin, and I made the same kind of Polaroid, and then I used, these are the dies. There's an add-on for January, February, and March, and these are the dies of that add-on. I'll put the link to those below too, so you can find them. And just the stamp set from this paper pumpkin. In fact, this is one of my favorites ever. And it says, well, you can't see it because it's on my mat here, which let me tell you about that too. So now Stampin' Up! Provides this piece of paper that has the images on there. I just take the stamp set, and as you can see, I take a glue dot, maybe you can't see it, and I stick that right to the paper, and then that way I know what stamps are on my, or in my kit. And then I take my stamps and I put them in a notebook like this. Now this is something you can print out from paperpumpkin.com, but I print them out, I stick them in the notebook. I do have to cut them down a little bit. And then when I'm done with my kit, I take my stamp set and I put it in the little pocket here, if I can get it open. All right, you just have to believe me. I put my paper pumpkin in there. Oh, that's because I had 2 of them. Okay, there we go. I take my stamp set and I put it in here. But this printout here has a great printout of what's on the stamp set. So much easier for me to see it like this than it is trying to see it on that little thing. Also, I take and I write down here what color ink spot that I got, just so I know what I have on hand, and it's an easy way to keep inventory. So that's what I do with my stamp sets. Let's go back to the card. So I just used that gorgeous grape and stamped on that, what looks like the Polaroid there. I hope I didn't lose focus and forget to tell you something. This was another swap that I got from Onstage. And look what I've done with this one. Now I've taken pieces from that stamp set and die cut them out with that die set, colored them a little bit with my Stampin' Blends, and put them on the front. I took that pattern paper that's a card base and cut it down and cut it into strips and add it under that arc, and it looks like that. Now this card, this swap was from Maria, and Maria, I'm sorry, I'll really mess up your last name if I try to say, so thank you for swapping with me, and this is what I did with her swap. So those are the alternatives. I think that's all of them. And then my sample card that you'll get as your make and take, and then the 3 cards that the kit makes that I did a little bit of altercation to them and added a card base. Looks like that. So I've just begun, and look how many cards from my paper pumpkin kit already. So there you go. If you have any questions, be sure and let me know. If you want to subscribe to Paper Pumpkin, you can go to paperpumpkin.com. There, subscribe right there. I hope you choose me as your demonstrator. I'm Kathy Howes from Denver, Colorado. And if you're not a paper, or if you are a paper pumpkin subscriber already, the refills for the kit are online. You can get a refill if you want to make more, since you have the stamp set and the ink pad. Alrighty, so that's what I have for you today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Paper Pumpkin, and I'll see you back here next Monday. Bye-bye.